Hey, it's Craig Syracusa, and welcome to another episode of Walk in Faith, the show where we go beyond the image and we discover who our guests really are. You might know them from TV, the big screen, or even the world of sports, but do we really know who they are as a person? Do we know what motivates them? Do we know what inspires them? Well, that's what we're here to find out. On today's episode, we'll talk to the stars and the producers of Forever My Girl, a movie about love, redemption, and forgiveness. And later in the show, we'll talk some more with Andrea Logan White, a woman whose life was transformed by those very things. Stay tuned. Walk with us. Well, thank you so much for this. I really enjoyed the film. I got to ask you, where did you learn that right hook? That was some punch you got there.
Well, sometimes emotions are just so deep, it comes from within, and you just can't. I actually did kickboxing for a while.
Did you?
Yeah, I've never actually hit another human being before. It would make me too nervous. I would only punch bags. A lot of that, luckily, was our incredible stunt choreographer and camera angles. But I'm really glad it sold. It felt very satisfying.
Jess, you're selling me short here.
I did actually punch him. So that's part of the thing. I did punch.
I took quite a few punches.
We tried doing it not, and it wasn't selling. So Alex was like, just hit me. And I was like, I don't think I should hit you. And he was like, no, just hit me.
She had to leave actually because Jess had to leave because you had an early start the next day.
Oh, right,
and
they cut me right
Bethany,
away.
our director, kind of took over. And for my reactions, she just I let her punch me in the stomach a few times. It was, it was a strange day.
I'm sorry about that.
But it was kind of fun.
But it sold. But I mean, honestly, the film was so inspiring.
Thank you.
I mean, I really enjoyed it. And what I liked was you overcame so much adversity. I mean, he leaves you at the altar, right? You find out you're having a baby by a man that abandoned you.
Yeah.
A lot of women would have made completely different choices. And instead, you opened up a business. You raised this hysterical, sassy little girl.
Yeah.
And that message is really important, especially in society today.
Hey, Liam, you want to see my pet rabbit?
That sounds like fun.
You know what? I'll come with you.
Mama, I'm all right. You're not going to kill me or anything, are you?
Billy Ann, that's enough.
But the one thing now, I can't, put in perspective, how famous is Liam Page? Is he like a Tom Cruise? Is he like a Justin Bieber? Who would tell me?
He's right up there. He's about as famous as you can be as a country artist. So I think you'd put him in the same as a Luke Bryan,
right,
or maybe like a Dierks Bentley kind of, but he's performing to 30,000.
Wow. And what did you guys learn from the film? I mean, you must have learned something that you're going to use in your own life, especially from Billy.
Oh, definitely. 100% from Billy.
I never knew how to play the guitar properly or sing before this, so I'm taking that a country twang of a singing voice and some guitar skills into the rest of my life.
He learned all of those skills brand new. He worked so incredibly hard and did an amazing job.
What about you? What did you learn?
I think I learned so much of this film is about forgiveness and forgiving other people and accepting forgiveness and second chances and faith. And it was just such a good reminder that those are things I want to carry forward in my life. And Josie's a very, very strong woman, as you kind of touched on. And I think that it's really easy I'm a big people pleaser, and it's really easy for me to kind of roll over if someone's unhappy and kind of step up and deal with them and not take care of myself. And Josie really does. And so I felt very inspired by that she can still take care of a child and do all of these things, but also she can completely take care of herself. Mm-hmm. And I think that's, like you said, that's a very important thing for young women and for everyone to see.
Yeah, the power of forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the power of, this redemption story, I think, is a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the homily was fantastic about forgiveness. It really was. Have you, being an actor or just overly ambitious, sometimes we put our own needs or our own dreams in front of other people's, right, or our families. Did you ever experience something like that in your own personal life that you sort of look back and regret, similar to your characters?
Mine is I can relate to the fact that I am from London and I've been living in between London and America, and I'm spending more time each year. So I can appreciate the juggling of family and friends back home and your career in some way. But I think Liam is kind of running away from his problems. And I think that he lost his mum at quite a young age, and I think fame was this like instant gratification that he got from these external sources that meant that he didn't really have to deal with any of that stuff. And then, yeah, obviously the fact that he had left the love of his life too, it was this way of kind of forgetting all of those things. And I can't necessarily relate to that as much, but I can see it as a cautionary tale without a doubt.
And you held on to that phone, that cell phone, that emotional preparation from that phone was fantastic. I mean, there's got to be something in your own personal life that you treasure as much as that phone.
Oh, what do I treasure as much as that phone? What have I brought out with me that has? I've got an alarm clock that my mum. I've got a twin sister, and I think for our 18th birthday, it's this like alarm clock that she's given both me and my sister. And it's like, it's not real silver, but it's like a silver kind of color. It's a really nice alarm clock. And I know that both me, my sister, and my mum are all kind of waking up with this same alarm clock every day, so I keep that.
It's amazing, right? You hold on to that.
Yeah.
Do you have anything that you sort of treasure as much as that, some personal item?
Oh, I have so many things. I love mementos. I have a blanket my grandmother knit for me when I was a child that I still have. And other than that, my grandmother who passed away recently, I got one of her watches, and I thought I lost it a while ago, and it was heartbreaking, and I found it, luckily. But I think that having things like that are really important, because even though they are just things, it's the emotional tie to that person, and it's so weighted with experience and with your life, and I love things like that.
Well, I appreciate this. Thank you so much. Good luck with the film. God bless you guys. Thank you.
Nothing's gonna happen between us, then.
I never said it was. Hey, Josie.
Yeah?
Is it alright if I pick you up from work tomorrow?
Okay.
Thank you so much. Like I was saying earlier, I really enjoyed the film. One of the things that I found was, I'm not a big country music guy by any means, but I found myself just singing along, tapping to the music. I mean, it's such a good soundtrack. Can you tell me about the soundtrack? And then also Alex, I mean, was that one of the reasons why you casted him, was because of his singing ability?
Mickey, you can take this one.
Absolutely. I love the music, and I think that's really one of the main reasons we made the film. And so I credit our director, Bethany Ashton Wolf. She had written the script for us, and we had a draft of it, and we were really excited about it. And it would just have placeholders for music or whatever. So she brought in Brett Boyette and Jackson for a. They brought him into the office and just played a few of the songs. It was just the two of them, or just really Jackson and just singing the songs. And we sat around and listened to that. And after that, we heard, Finally Home and something else. We were like, let's go make this movie. I mean, it really was, that was the reason to do it. And once we had that, we decided to go. We obviously we had to find Liam Page. So to find an actor that's a great actor,
that was a tough one.
Right, that can do the accent, that can sing, that can play guitar. I mean, it was really difficult. And when Alex came in, he came in.
He's British.
Yeah, he's British. He came in with the accent that you hear in the movie. So I had no idea. I mean, we all saw him and we're like, did he just come from Nashville? Come to find out, he had never played the guitar, never sung in front of people and all that. And so once he got the role, I mean, we just assumed that he was like a country star from Nashville. He was that good. And so he came in and he did really, really work. Then we started finishing all the songs, and he went around. He went to Nashville. He went around to just different places
Clubs
in LA.
in LA.
Yeah, and played, and we'd go watch him, and he would just get better and better and better. And so he did that for 6 months to a year, before the part. So that's why he's so confident in those scenes.
I mean, the casting was great. Billy, obviously, is my favorite.
I don't do convertibles. They're too dangerous. Do you know the stats on surviving an accident in a convertible?
No, I do not.
Well, they are low, Liam. Staggeringly low.
The only one I couldn't figure out was Sam. Because I was trying to figure out, was Sam there for the ride, or was Sam actually, committed, because you show him a couple of scenes with his kids, which is sort of as devout father, but then you show him in this luxurious home. So I started to, in my mind, I was sort of contradicting what the character was. I wasn't sure if he was really a true friend or not. I mean, what was the intentions behind Sam's character?
I think he really is probably one of the few people in Liam's life that is really a true friend. Yeah. And he had a family, and that's what we were sort of juxtaposing. I don't think Liam knew anybody with a family on the road and all that. He didn't know anyone with kids or whatever. And I love that one of his first calls is to Sam, and Sam's like, "You can do it.
You're going to be great at this."
You're going to be great. Yeah, and then you see him with his kids, and he's eating pancakes, and it's Saturday, and he's having fun. So he really is a real person in his life, and obviously, when he has the struggle with whether he should go back or not, like Sam's the guy he really looks to. So I think he's definitely a friend and is the one who will tell him like it is when he's really off track, which Liam was for a while.
Yeah, he was.
He was able to tell him that. So I love the character of Sam. I think.
Yeah, I did. And then there was so much faith in the film, and the sermon about forgiveness was spot on. Have you guys ever been in a situation where you had to forgive someone, especially you, coming from the background where you had to forgive someone that you feel like maybe you shouldn't?
I think that's what resonated for me in this film. I was going through a lot of stuff early on, and my mom and I had this incredible conversation about forgiveness, and she looked at me and she's like, you're really never free till you forgive. And it was like one of those aha moments of, you got to let go, you got to forgive, because you're not free. And I slowly started to heal with people in my life that have maybe not been great. Also, the craziness that's happened within mine and my family's life throughout the years, from Greece and Iraq. And so for me, the movie resonated, and it was about the forgiveness aspect was incredible for me.
Yeah, it really was. And now, for the viewers that aren't familiar with your story, you left Iraq, you said, at 5 years old?
Yeah, 5 years old in 1975, 76, and we refuged to Greece. The war between Iraq and Iran was evident, and also the religious. It was getting really crazy for my mom and dad, and just being Chaldean and Catholic in that region at the time was very. It was pretty intense. So we fled and pretty much gave everything that we had away. Came to Greece with a backpack and a bag and the cross that we all got to wear. And we were refuged for about 4 years in Greece, and I finally got the green card to come to 8 Mile, Michigan, Dearborn area, and we were there for about 2 months, and then we fled again and came to California.
Wow.
So
there's your next movie right there.
I know, exactly.
It's a great story.
It's an incredible story.
Great
really
story.
is. Yeah.
And you're so outspoken about your faith. And I know in Hollywood sometimes it's sort of like we keep it under the wraps, but you're so outspoken. Do you think Hollywood is ready for more faith-based films or Christian or Catholic films?
I I think Risen for me was a game changer. Risen for me completely changed the way I make movies now and the way I speak about my films and films that we make. I'm pretty open about. I wear a cross on my neck, and I'm pretty open about being a Catholic, and I'm very proud of it, and I'm very proud of my family and what the faith stands for us, But I had a lot of friends that went to go see Risen, Muslim friends and Jewish friends, and they all walked out of there going, "Man, you made a really cool movie that didn't, that whole Bible
Beat you over the
aspect,
head,
beat you over the head."
Exactly.
So I was very proud of that film, but that film, I think, for me was very instrumental in how I choose my films and films that we make for the company.
And that's hard, too, being in the limelight, because sometimes you have to sort of put your faith aside when you're doing films. So it becomes an internal struggle. Did you have to do that prior to, say, Risen, where you had to make decisions that went against sort of your
Listen,
belief
I've
system?
made horror films, and I've made, we've made films that were very rated R. Yes, you've got to make, you have to make money to keep the company moving, and to make more movies, but it wasn't a major internal struggle for me to, go from a horror film into something like, Risen, and we've done The Zookeeper's Wife, we've done a lot of great films like that, but not really. No, I know when I was going to make Risen, I knew that it was about a great Bible event, and it was about my faith and my story and Mickey's story and all the powers that be. It was just there's no conflict.
And what do you hope to get from this film? What do you want the viewers to walk away with?
Well, you said it earlier, forgiveness, forgiving people. that's what I would want them to come out of.
For me, it's fun. Like I think we really, I mean, the company, like you said, we had made a lot of darker films that were true life stories, and from Risen to Megan Levy to Anthropoid to Jackie, Zucchini. I mean, we were all over. The company was all over Europe, and we've been shooting for a long time. Great movies, which I'm so proud of every one of those movies. But I think all of us came home where everybody was like, we are so tired, and we've been, it's hard to make very serious movies in the way the acting has to be perfect and everything about it. And so I think the whole company was really looking for something like this, which is, it's Fred My Girl. Even the name, we were like, oh, we would never do that. And then we read it, and we're like, we should do this, and we were just really trying to make the best version of this type of movie. So we all were looking for like love, romance, fun. I mean, all the sort of stuff that you weren't in those other movies, because they were difficult, hard movies to make. And this was so great to sort of just kind of like breathe again and have fun. And I would want people to see it. I mean, obviously there's the prodigal son, and there's forgiveness. There's all the lessons in there. But more than that, I think it's just such a fun movie. I've seen it probably 30 times, and I'll be like halfway through, or I'll come in halfway, and I'm like, I still want to watch it. The music's great. It's just a fun movie. So to me, if you can get that, like if you can eat your spinach and also have a great time, I think that's a great success for this type of movie.
Yeah, we went from dealing with the Holocaust and PTSD in Iraq, the Iraq War, to Mickey just called and he's like, hey, we got to do something fun and light, and this was such a pleasure to work on this film.
I agree.
It
It's a great film, and it will resonate with a lot of people.
Yeah.
God bless you guys. Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much.
Thank you. Thank you.
So nice to meet you.
guys.
Appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Thank you. You guys are awesome.
I'm sorry about your grandma, Josie.
Hey, Liam. Hey, Dad. What a punch you socked me with.
That was just a warning shot.
Mama!
Hi, sweetie!
Hey, I know you. You're that country star my mama listens to. Not really my cup of tea. No offense. I'm Billy.
I didn't find out that I was pregnant until a couple weeks after what was supposed to be our wedding day.
What's going on? Turns out
I have a daughter.
Does your halo
I have no right to ask, but I want to get to know Billy.
This is moving way too fast.
You're gonna ruin your dinner with that.
Sometimes you just gotta take a walk on the wild side. Ready for it?
Right.
No! So you think you're ready to be a dad? So you spent a couple weeks playing house? I'm not sure how long I'm gonna be here for.
Hey, Liam, why'd you leave my mama?
I was young. I got lost.
But you found your way back now, right?
It always seems to find its way back home.
So when did you, because you mentioned earlier about you didn't really have God in your life. It took a breakdown in the car for you to realize or recognize that God was really there all along, right? When you had that near overdose, the police officer, and also the guy held a sign up. So when did you realize, what happened? Tell me about that day in the car.
So I had just left an audition, and I had to play somebody who was drunk, and it was something where I was like, I couldn't book a series. I had multiple jobs. I was waiting tables. I was personal trainer. I was doing all of these odd end jobs, and I was like, what am I doing? I just lost my will to live, because I had this dream in my heart. I had stars in my eyes when I moved to Hollywood, and it was fading. It was getting harder. I was so beat down, and I just cried out to God, and I lost my will to live, to be honest. I wasn't planning my suicide, but I was like, I don't have anything left in me to go on. And I cried out to God. I said, God, if you're real, you need to show me who you are, because I've lost my will to live. Well, why am I here? What am I doing in Hollywood? I'm at the corner of Sunset La Brea, sobbing my eyes out. Nobody's here. I had no support. I had no true friends. Everybody was, narcissistic, out for themselves. And I'm like, you need to show me why I'm here, and I give up. And so that's when the car beeped their horn, pointed to the radio station, held up the sign, they drove away, and the bumper sticker said, Jesus loves you. So I turned the radio station on, and it was a pastor literally repeating the words that I just cried out to God. And so for me, that was my fork in the road to say, okay, all right, God, I'm going to follow you. I don't even know what this means, but I'm going to try it out.
And then what happened after that? I mean, because you said you became a Christian, and like we said, people think, oh, you're saved, or you become a Christian, that's it. I sit back and I relax and everything. They didn't realize there's a lot of work, it's a lot of struggles. Like what happened to you after that day?
So all I could do was go to church and go to the last row, sit in the last row in the last seat. I couldn't even feel worthy of sitting with these people that called themselves Christians, and so I just would go sit, and I went back to Malibu Vineyard, which is the church that I went to with Hef's girlfriend, because I didn't know any other church in Hollywood. So I went there, and just wanted to hear the message and would run out the door. And then slowly but surely, it was like my antennas went up, because then all of a sudden this person was a Christian, that person was a Christian. So God started, and I raised my hand one week to get saved, but I was still dating my boyfriend. I actually was dating 3 men at the time, and I got saved. and I didn't even know what it meant to be saved. But that's God's sense of humor. And then slowly he brought friends, and she's like, Andrea, you know what it means to be saved, right? And I was like, no. You know, and I just, but slowly, God's such a gentleman, and thankfully the Holy Spirit convicts us in a gentle way. And then I just started going to church more and surrounding myself with Christians. And then my convictions became deeper and deeper. And I was like, the things I used to do, I couldn't do anymore. And so it was like this slow road, but a path to then I was like wearing turtlenecks. And I was like, oh no, so it was a transformation. And then I went 360 conservative, because I was like, okay, I need to learn. I'm doing this right. I'm saving myself till marriage. I'm doing this God's way now. If I call myself a Christian, I got to learn what this means.
And then, but there was always this one guy, right, that kept popping up in church and other places, David.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So you tell us about that first time when you met him at church.
Yeah. So he had his best friend, and he waited after church to introduce himself, and it was. And I just wanted, God, tell me what Christian, like God, these men who love Jesus, just show me that. I just wanted male friends. I didn't want boyfriends. I didn't want anything. So here comes David along with his best friend, and they were fighting over me, who was going to date me first. Oh, and so, and I would meet him, and he was so sweet, and we connected from the first time. There was a connection, but I would just run out the door. I ran away from men. And he pursued me, and it was about a year from when we first met, and he had gone to another church. The church that we were going to actually split. So he had gone to another church, and we reconvened. I was actually not dating. I was training Ewan McGregor. He was in a movie called Down with Love. I was a personal trainer at the time, so I was training the producer and Ewan McGregor. And so they brought me on set, and the second AD on that film was a on-fire Christian. And he said, hey, you got to come to this Bible study, CBS Radford Studios. It's all about, it's on the DL, and it's these people in the business that are Christians. And so I show up there, and David shows up there, and he looks at me, and he's like, what are you doing here? I'm like, what are you doing here? And so, and the first thing out of my mouth, I said, I don't know, I think I'm ready to meet my husband. And then he's like, what? And then I'm sitting there like, why did I just say that? So, and then we courted, dated, and within a few months we knew that we were going to marry each other, and we've been together over 16 years.
Wow. So when you saw him that first day, you knew right away, like, this is the man I'm going to marry?
I did not. But we went on a hike, and he had never been hiking, so he shows up with his breakaway sweatpants and his shoes to go on a date, because he wanted to get to know me. Mm-hmm. And he went his way, I went my way back to Brentwood where I lived in Brentwood, and a voice that said, that's your husband. And I never heard God's audible voice, only a few times, but one of the few times was a voice saying, that's your husband. And I was like, wait, what?
What did it sound like?
It was like this knowing in my heart, and it was just a really calm, gentle voice of, that's your husband. And then he would just stare at me and smile at me. I'm like, what are you thinking? And it was just this weird connection. And from day one, I knew that he was a gentleman and that he was a genuine man. And I'd never met anybody like that before. So I knew it was definitely a gift, yeah.
And okay, so now you guys got married, and it wasn't the Hollywood movie that most people would think. Right? You had a lot of issues. You struggled financially. You had issues within the marriage. How did you overcome that? Because most people would just run for the hill, right? I mean, most people wouldn't even last a few months. They would, let's get divorced.
Our faith. We both say if we didn't know Jesus, we'd never still be married. And really, and knowing the conviction of God brought us together, and it's been a roller coaster. Our marriage, our having children, the chronic illnesses that I've been diagnosed with, it's not been easy, but we know at the end of the day where we turn to, and God has been faithful. There's been years, we've had unanswered prayers for years, but it's been our faith and knowing that even if we get into an argument, we can get into an argument and the Holy Spirit will say, go fix it.
That happens to me. And
Yeah.
never go to sleep angry.
Yes.
I learned that in pre-Cana before
And
I
then
got
you just
married.
get tired. You're like, what are we arguing about? But this is silly. Like, we're so grateful, and we've gone through so much loss. We've lost one of our PureFlix partners, Russell Wolf. At an early age, we lost both of David's parents. I lost a child. So we've gone through so much grief and loss that we're like, we need to be grateful for what God has given us. And we look back and we're so grateful that we have stuck together, because life is really blessed and really rich, not financially all the time, but looking back at how God weaves the brokenness and into richness, and it's a really cool thing.
And have you ever doubted your faith? Because it's very easy to, when things are going right, we all praise God, we love our faith. But then when turmoil happens, when you have the loss, right?
Yeah.
Or you're struggling in your marriage, did you doubt? Some people do. Did you ever doubt your faith, or do you doubt your faith sometimes?
Sometimes I doubt it every day. Let's be real. We go through life and we think we're good, but when life is painful or uncomfortable, I think it's easy to praise God when we're up on top, but when we're in the valley in another season of like, God, where are you? Where are you? I was doubting God a year and a half ago when I wasn't driving for 4 months with a diagnosis that gave me, and I was passing out with low blood pressure, and I was like, and you want me to do what, God? And I'm so grateful for all the opportunities, but I think we all question our purpose every day, and we're here to surrender, to say, okay, God, I'm here for you. Thank you so much for what you've done. It says in James to count it all joy, and that's a hard thing to do, but we are here to serve Him and to be a light for Him.
So let me ask you though, what do you think the ultimate plan is for your life? What do you think it is? What would you say?
That's a great question. To continue to do more of what we're doing. I have a heart for children. I have 3 of my own. We have 3 of our own, and I really have a heart for kids that are struggling with suicide and depression. And if I can help those kids, I'd love to write a book with those issues for kids, and I'd love to mentor teens. That's something that I have a heart for, because if I had one person at that age, I feel like all you need is one person to speak life into me, to speak hope, to speak truth, to say you're made for a purpose. You're unique. Your life is not going to look like anybody else's, because you're unique. And so that's something I'd love to do. And hopefully, I can stay on the straight and narrow and honor God in all that I do. But who knows what God has, and enjoy the ride, enjoy the journey, because what our expectations are, they're never our path is never what we want it to be, but it's better. God's way is better. So hopefully just bigger, better, glorifying God in all that we do.
And why do you think, because there's so many people out there that have, like me and you, have similar dreams and desires, why did God pick you? Like, why is this happening for you and not someone else?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. Why did God pick me? I don't know. I think because He knows that I persevere, that I won't give up, that I am pretty bold. I love people. I love people that struggle. And if God can take me, this broken little girl from the Midwest, and put me somewhere, and know that it's only by His grace, and He can do it to anybody. I don't think I'm any different than anybody, to be honest. I think we're all equal. We're all the same. I just happen to be a person that loves God and loves to perform.
Well, keep continuing to do what you're doing. I'll be a fan of PureFlix in your films. God bless you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Always remember, we have the ability to inspire and evangelize through our words and actions. Till next time, thanks for walking with us.